Morning, guys. Good morning. All right, to start with the injury report, Morgan Moses will be out today, as will ABT, Breece Hall, and Sauce. All three we're going to work with till the end of the week. Hopeful that they can make some strides to play, but we'll see. Still too early to make a decision on all four of those guys. And then we're going to open up the window for Alan Lazard and Wes Schweitzer. So two guys that we're also hopeful by the end of the week will be ready to go, and we can activate them and sign them. Beyond that, excited to get working this week. Great challenge, divisional opponent we know very well. Very explosive from an offensive perspective, not just speed, but schematically they're going to challenge you in every way. Defense, they got a new look, and they're finding their rhythm. I feel like as of late, very aggressive, a lot of fronts, a lot of pressure, they're going to bring a lot of stuff at us. So it's we're going to have to be on our stuff in that way. And then from a special team standpoint, as we all know, they have been very explosive in the past. You know, whether that's creating explosives with scheme and fakes, or it's putting one of those monsters back there and letting them return. So great challenge in all three phases.
Rick, what do you have to do to tighten up the pass protection for Rodgers at the end of the game? He got sacked on the second to last play, and then he got hit on the last play on the heat to Garrett Wilson, other hits throughout the game. What can you do to protect it better?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we gotta play better, you know, to start with from a technique standpoint. Maybe more variance at times. We've talked about more variance as far as protection is concerned, not being as predictable in that way. And then incorporating at times a little bit more quick game, three-step, getting the ball out of his hands. So it's a combination of all those things.
How serious a strain of the hamstring is it for Sauce?
They're still assessing the degree of which, you know, beyond what the MRI told us. But he plays a position and we're playing an opponent that you cannot play with a poor hamstring, in my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. If he's feeling good and ready to rock and roll, then we'll let him play. If not, this is not a game we want him half speed.
Is this part of like a maintenance plan? He sat out last Wednesday. Or is this, he came out of the game worse for wear?
No, not worse for the wear. It's just, a little bit of last week. You know, we're hopeful. You know, he's hopeful. He thinks he's going to play. So we'll see how the week goes. You know, last week we didn't know. He got out there Friday, looked fantastic. So I'm hopeful we'll have the same scenario.
What's the injury with ABT, and how serious is Morgan's shoulder?
Yeah, ABT has the ankle. He's a guy that I'm very hopeful will play. And then Morgan's shoulder, for most guys, would be semi-serious, but for Morgan, he's just, as we all know, he's just one of those tough guys. You know, he's a throwback NFL player that is willing to play with about anything. You know, so it's a guy we're so fortunate to have in that way. Tough as it gets.
So how do you manage, especially considering where you are in the juncture of the season, just managing these guys injury-wise?
As far as in what context?
Play them and not pushing them too hard and things of that nature too.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll never, regardless of the situation or the record, we'd never put a guy at risk. You know, that's not capable of going out there and playing. So I don't know if the record has a whole lot to do with that ever. You know, it shouldn't, at least in my opinion.
How do you balance, Chris? You said the other day you think a lot of Aaron's struggles this year. You chalked it up to his injuries in October, November. How do you balance though, like going? The guy wants to play like him. He knows his body, but could it hurt the team if he's not 100%? If he's 70%? How do you do that as a coach? Say, you know, let the guy decide, or figure out what's best for the team.
Yeah, that's a fine, isn't it?
That is a fine. Yeah, I mean, he leads the league, so. I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's a hard balance at times, you know, but we have tremendous faith in Aaron. We really do. His struggles partly have been from an injury standpoint, not being fully healthy, you know, but beyond that, I know he hasn't played to the standard he'd like to play too, but we all know he's capable of. We all have great belief in him, and I really believe we're going to get the best version of him this Sunday. I do.
What has it been like having Tyrod in that room in general, like just as a veteran backup like that as support?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great resource for Aaron, not only during the week to give him perspective and just have a lot of really cool conversations about the game plan, but on game day. The way he sees the game from the sideline is as good as I've ever seen. The way he can articulate it to Aaron is amazing. So I think always to have that veteran backup for your quarterback is just a huge asset, and Tyrod has absolutely filled that.
Have you spoken to Breece since Sunday, and like what have the conversations been like? Because we talked about the other day how down he was after that game. Like, were you?
A little bit, yeah. And it's just another indication of the growth that Breece has taken. He's become this amazing worker. He's become this amazing teammate, and it's just been so amazing to see and so cool to see. And not only has he grown as a player, but he's grown off the field as well, really starting to learn what the process is supposed to look like for a pro. So extremely discouraged and pissed off at himself that he fumbled that ball, and he feels a great obligation to this team. But I could not be happier with where he's at as a player, person, and as a pro.
But what do you do when a player like that, who's really important to you guys,
Right.
now sounding like his confidence is shaken? How do you handle that?
Yeah, just continue to accentuate the positives. You obviously got to correct the negative stuff, but there's so much positive about what Breece does and has done and will do, and as long as I think we celebrate that enough, he'll be fine in that way.
Obviously, it's been a lot of talk about the penalties this week, too. I just want to know from your perspective. We talk about undisciplined players and things like that all the time, but what is a definition in your perspective of a disciplined player?
Well, from a penalty standpoint,
Yeah, penalty or just in general.
yeah, a disciplined player is one that executes his job to the best of his ability every single play, and you see that. That doesn't necessarily mean they win or lose the down. It means they're executing, they're doing exactly what you've asked. Part of that process is the penalty or the lack thereof. So some penalties, as we've spoke about in at length before, are aggressive penalties, and you live with them. Solly's penalty with the horse collar, he's in the pit scrapping for a 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, like you're just trying to grab at whatever you can grab at, and sometimes he got it. The beauty of that play was the minute he realized, he let it go, and that wasn't ultimately what tackled the guy, So if you get called for stuff like that, I think we can live with those. The ones you can't live with are the illegal shifts, illegal formations, the delay of games, the offsides. Those absolutely unacceptable, and those are they're an illustration and demonstration of lack of discipline at times. So, got to be better in that way.
And to follow up on that, as a coach, how are you and others are teaching, discipline throughout the course of the week and meetings?
Just holding people accountable every day in all we do. It's the best thing you can do.
The big story in the NFL right now is the Texans linebacker getting Trevor Lawrence suspended. Do you use that at all as teaching tape for your guys of what to do, not to do in that situation?
I think there's going to be a point that we definitely reflect on that for our team to look at, because there's a couple different things in there. There's one, obviously the hit itself, which can't happen, but it did. And then after that was the byproduct of that hit was the fighting and the stuff that happened after the fact, where that's a great opportunity for us to show the players, like, in those moments, I get it, you're pissed. I get it, everybody's pissed. I get it, your instinct is to throw now, and to do something about it. But ultimately, that's what's in the best interest of you and not our team. And ultimately, that's not what a really good team player does, So always keeping the team in the forefront of your mind, especially in those super emotional moments like that one was.
Have you been in a situation like that before as a player?
I have, and there was one time where I got hit extremely late, where I did something about it and got fined and got penalized, and that was totally not okay. And there was a time where I absolutely learned from that, and so everything I've heard about Aziz is he's an amazing teammate and an amazing player. Obviously, we see that from the tape, and he's got a fantastic reputation, about how he conducts himself on a daily basis. And if you really take a deep dive into a story, he has an amazing story about what he's overcome in life, So I have that's not a reflection of who that player is by any means, But it's a great teachable moment for the Texans and for the rest of the league.
I talked the other day about Kene, and it's a great story, and
Yep.
you spotlighted him. What were you spotlighting? What is that story that you think is so great about him?
Well, the practice habits were as good as I've ever seen. And then for that to be a guy that's never playing on Sundays, he went 5-6 weeks of not even stepping on the field. But the practice would have never told you that. The practice would have said, man, that guy is a starter. That guy is going to be out there every rep on Sunday. And he never wavered from that. I used to love to jump over there and see even the offensive drills. I mean, he just was, his burst and his speed and his intentionality on being all the little details was just, it was every day, every moment, every drill, every practice, every walkthrough, everything was on point. And yeah, like no surprise he played so well, like he was just a byproduct of all that work he'd put in. So just for us, what a powerful message to the team that, you keep grinding, you keep working, you're selfless in all that you do, and you will get rewarded.
Was there any type of
Last
injury
one.
that kept him from not being a part of that? Like, why not give him a chance sooner if he's been, this
Right.
this good?
Yeah, there's a good point. There's part of that is just it's hard to dress 4 running backs on a game-to-game basis. That's the numbers get big there, and obviously that takes from somewhere else, DB, O-line, D-line, whatever that is. So trying to create the perfect on roster on game day is it's a challenge, but I think he's definitely, I know he's demonstrated what it's take to play every single Sunday, and every chance we can, he needs to be up, and he will be up.
One last one, Rich. Yeah, I just wanted to ask what's the latest on CJ.
He's going to give it another try this week. So last week was the first time he really went full practice, full pads, and full all that. He felt good, not great. So we're going to give him another week to really take an assessment of where he's at.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you guys.